We are all familiar with the artificial type of cheerfulness of the vital nature, which puts on a happy face and glad hands everyone in a show of bubbly cheer. We are also familiar with the artificial type of cheerfulness that arises through the use of intoxicating beverages and immersion in an atmosphere of vital excitement. This type of cheer, however, is not able to overcome the difficulties one has to face, and when one leaves behind that artificial cheer, one is still faced with the problems, obstacles, doubts, fears, and depressions that were temporarily masked behind the surface smile. The type of cheerfulness that is powerful and effective stems from the psychic being that has begun to come forward and direct the life with a sense of its meaning and purpose. The soul has taken birth to accomplish something. It recognizes that there are numerous setbacks and obstacles along the way, and it is prepared to meet them quietly, patiently, cheerfully, to eventually achieve the goal. Devotees have frequently in the past put on a sad face and a grim demeanor, expressing how difficult the spiritual path was and how much sacrifice it required. The dark night of the soul has been a frequent topic among devotees in many paths. They show their seriousness, and they struggle. There is a story from the ancient texts that illustrates something of this power of cheerfulness in the spiritual quest. The divine sage Narad was traveling one day and came across a yogi who had undertaken strict austerities, seated under a tree, meditating without distraction and without regard for any of the amenities or comforts of the external life. When he saw Narad, he inquired, "I have been meditating here for years without break. When shall I achieve final liberation?" Narad used his divine sight to look into the yogi's future and stated, "In 4 more lifetimes you will achieve final liberation." The yogi was crestfallen at the verdict of Narad, as he was expecting liberation right away. Narad continued along his way and found a seeker immersed in singing and dancing out of devotion to God. He, too, inquired of Narad about his liberation, when he would be in the presence of the God he worshipped. Narad replied that as many leaves as there are on this tree, that is the number of lifetimes it will take for your liberation. At this, the devotee became ecstatic, exclaiming that in such a short time he would see God. A celestial voice came from the heavens declaring, "You are liberated now." The cheerfulness of this devotee was a power of his soul which had obviously taken charge of his external being and his life. He faced what the other yogi felt would be an enormous setback with characteristic cheerfulness and joy. This was the fast path to complete liberation from the bonds of the external world and life. The mother writes, quote, "Another remarkable sign of the conversion of your vital, owing to Agni's influence, is that you face your difficulties and obstacles with a smile. You do not sit any more in sackcloth and ashes, lamenting over your mistakes and feeling utterly crestfallen because you are not at the moment quite up to the mark. You simply chase away depression with a smile. 100 mistakes do not matter to you. With a smile, you recognize that you have erred, and with a smile, you reserve not to repeat the folly in the future. All depression and gloom is created by the hostile forces, which are never so pleased as when throwing on you a melancholy mood. Humility is indeed one thing, and depression quite another. The former, a divine movement, and the latter, a very crude expression of the dark forces. Therefore, face your troubles joyously. Oppose with invariable cheerfulness the obstacles that beset the road to transformation. The best means of routing the enemy is to laugh in his face. You may grapple and tussle for days, and he may still show an undiminished vigor. But just once laugh at him, and lo, he takes to his heels. A laugh of self-confidence and of faith in the divine is the most shattering strength possible. It disrupts the enemy's front and spreads havoc in his ranks and carries you triumphantly onwards. End quote. Reference, Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, Powers Within, Chapter 7, Attitude, page 72.